Hello. My name's Laura, and you are, let's have a look.
Ryan.
Ryan, how are you?
Good. How you doing? Get some more
Good,
light.
good. We're just going to start in a minute. I'm just going to give everybody a second. So where are you joining from, Ryan?
San Diego.
Oh, wow. What's the time there now?
5.
Oh, wow. In the morning?
No, PM.
PM, okay. Okay, that's not too bad
Yeah.
then.
Yeah. What about
All
you?
right.
You okay?
It's just 10 o'clock. Yeah, I'm good. How are you?
Good.
Yeah. All right. We'll just give everybody a second.
Okay.
How are your Christmas plans coming along?
Pretty good. Just gonna go back and visit family in the south. So that's about
Oh,
it. Yeah.
how
Down
south is south
south.
then?
What's that?
How south is south? How far?
Well, I guess for me it would be east, but
Mm,
yeah, Mississippi. So like the south of America. So
Nice.
near the Delta and all that. So
Sounds good.
yeah. What about you?
Yeah, I think we're just gonna stay in, to be honest. So I live
Mm.
in Korea, and Christmas in Korea is not
Oh wow.
really, yes, it's not really a traditional thing per se, but people kind of kick back and sort of watch Christmas movies. People love getting Christmas cakes. That's the thing.
Yeah.
And also ice cream and ice cream
Yeah.
cakes for some reason is huge in Korea.
I've heard that. That's funny.
We have somebody else joining. If you want to say hi, that'd be good. Okay. All right. I think we might as well just slowly get started, to be honest. For the other person that's just joining, if you can say hi, or if you can maybe just give your name, that'd be nice, just so I can address you as well. Okay. So let's jump right in. So this is a very Python Christmas. Welcome. And it's a collaboration series between Code Academy Auckland and Code Academy Python, which is the club that I'm currently hosting for. And this third session is lists and loops. And can I just ask, have either one of you been attending the previous sessions at all?
No.
No. Okay, that's fine. I mean, they're standalone in the series, but they are going to be helpful if you want to join the final event.
Okay.
Can I just ask, like, what's your coding level? Would you consider yourself a beginner or intermediate, or are you total pro? Where would you put
Beginner.
yourself? Beginner. Yeah, that's good. This is very beginner focused, so that's good.
Perfect.
Now, just to give you a brief overview of what we're doing today. So we're going to have some introductions. I will introduce myself as well. I would like to hear your name, and you already introduced yourself, Ryan, and maybe something about yourself. And then we're going to look at lists and loops. So that's going to be more theoretical. And following that, there will be a practical component. And just to kind of keep things simple, I would recommend using Codecademy workspaces. You may have already seen them on the platform to practice some key lists and loops concepts through a couple of code problems. And after that, there will be a quick wrap up. So if you have any questions, we can revisit those. And there will be a little recap. Oh, one sec, sorry. Okay. There will be a little recap, and we're going to have a look of what's coming up. And you are also going to have the chance to share any thoughts that you may have. Just have a quick look. Yeah, all right. So just to briefly introduce myself. So my name is Laura. I actually work in marketing. I am based in Korea, here in Seoul, and I've been here since 2015, so quite a while actually. And for me personally, coding in Python is a hobby that I enjoy. And I've been hosting events on Codecademy since 2021, so quite a while actually. And maybe one thing I'd like to throw out there. So sometimes I have attendees telling me, oh, they'd love to host a club, or they would really like to maybe attend more. They feel a bit shy. And to be quite honest, back when I started hosting in 2021, I knew even less than I know now. So if you're interested in becoming a host, I can only recommend it. It's really good for your CV. It even if it's not a paid gig, it just helps you really connect with the community. You have a couple of perks, I guess, in the sense that you can get Codecademy Pro. So if you would like to become more involved, yeah, let me know maybe, or maybe try to get involved, try to contact one of the community managers. I can connect you. That's also completely fine. I would just really love to have more people hosting on this platform. I think it's a really lovely way to get involved. Now, just to get to that introductions part, so Ryan's you already introduced yourself, but what I would maybe like to hear is also something about yourself, something interesting. It can be something from the below. It doesn't have to be all three things. It can also be something else. If you would rather share something else, that would be completely fine. And just to give you maybe a couple of examples, and I can go first. So, for example, you could talk about what was your funniest or your wildest coding mishap. It doesn't have to be Python. And in my case, it was actually while I was hosting a meetup and I was using a Jupyter notebook in VS Code. And I had actually checked everything before I started the session. Everything was working well. And then during the session, for some reason, it just would not run the code. And I was completely stupefied. But some people in the community, in the audience, they told me, you can maybe restart your kernel. And I did that and it worked. And it was just my wildest mishap, maybe, because it just didn't make any sense to me. But it was a sort of, have you tried turning it off and on again moment? It just kind of made me laugh how simplistic things get sometimes. And then maybe, did you maybe have a weird error one time? And so again, it doesn't have to be Python. It can also be something else. And in my case, recently, I was looking at my marketing data on a Google Sheet. And for some reason, the data, the formula that I'd entered in my Google Sheet, it just was not able to access a certain date. And I was going back and forth. I was checking with a colleague. And then in the end, what it was is that I was using a VLOOKUP formula on my sheet. And the date was not in a date format. And that's why I couldn't access it. So that was my weirdest error that took me quite a while. And then maybe lastly, if you could maybe share something that you find helpful in your routine or in your learning journey. So for example, for some people, it can be a certain soundtrack, it can be scheduling things, it can be putting it in your diary, it can be a certain desk layout. And for me personally, I really like to have flavored mints on hand. And I also like to have a sort of log cabin soundtrack where you have fire crackling in the background, where you have a bit of wind howling. That's kind of my thing that really helps me. And just to go back to you guys, I would like to hear from you. Is there somebody who would like to go first, maybe?
Yeah, I'll go first.
Yeah.
Since I'm newer, I would just say the most frustrating thing is, using snake script or snake text, whatever you call it, for variables, and then sometimes, I'll get, a few pages in, and then the script doesn't work, and like I'm just sometimes I just don't pay attention, and then I'll put it to Chat GPT, and it's like, yeah, the variable name's incorrect. So like, I don't know. That's one. And then I don't know, things I like to do, like listen to like binaural beats and just like a tone, and
Mm.
kind of like to get in the zone. Like
Mm.
obviously I haven't been doing this for long, but I enjoy doing that. So
Mhm.
yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, sounds good. Just for the other two people who have joined, would you be able to share your name and maybe something about yourself, please?
All
No.
right, go next.
Mm-hmm.
My name is Greg. Um,
Great.
Fairly new to Python. Not not a lot much more to say there. Um, Weirdest errors that I always have is I get confused with the spacing, the tabbing for functions and things. So that's always gets me. And good rock and roll music in the headphones is a good thing. So.
Oh wow! Do you not find that distracting?
No, it's just it's background noise, and it drowns out any of the actual distractions around the house. So.
Fair enough. Can I just ask, because you said you were getting confused with spacing in functions, did you attend William's session on Wednesday? Because he was talking about that sort of thing.
Yes.
Yeah. Did you find it helpful?
Yes, very much.
Yeah, that's good. All right. Would the last person like to join anything, or are you just watching? Okay. Maybe we'll give you a moment. If you'd like to share anything, it's okay to put that in the chat. Let's just move on to the meaty part of this session. So lists and loops. Okay, so basically what lists are, they are basic data structure, and they help us store grouped, ordered groups of data. And I just put a couple of real life examples from my own phone, from my own life. So for example, if you have Google Maps and you review certain things, it creates a list of places that you've visited or that you have reviewed, for example, right? And if you have a playlist of any kind, it can be YouTube, it can be a music playlist, it can be any kind of streaming platform. It will create a list of things that you have watched, things that you have put on your watch later list, for example. There will be lists of things that you have listened to in previous years. Excuse me. And then loops. So again, they are very basic data structures as well, and they help us repeat code. And a real life example from your own life that you could maybe apply this to is, let's say you have an ATM, and the ATM contains a certain list of, banknotes to dispense. Let's say you want to get 100, whatever your currency might maybe, $100 out. And so your list and your loop could be, okay, keep dispensing banknotes or bills until your desired amount is reached. And in that sense, you could also maybe apply a while structure. While the amount has not been reached yet, keep dispensing money. And yeah, just to jump right in. So lists, basically what they are is they can be assigned to a variable. They don't have to. And you can follow with an equal sign and square brackets. And then each list item is separated by a comma. So let's say in this example here, we have Christmas greetings. We have them in different languages. And as we can see, we have square brackets and each item is separated by a comma. The list items can be numbers, they can be strings, they can be objects, they can also be other lists. We'll get to that in a second. And you can also mix them. They don't have to be the same type of item in the list. And when you declare a new list, you can do that like so. You have your equal sign after your variable, you have empty brackets. And then one more thing is you don't have to put commas, you don't have to put spaces after each comma, but it's kind of a good practice sort of thing for readability. Let me just check in with the chat. Yeah, if there's anything where you think I'm going too fast, if you have any questions, just pop them in the chat and I'll try to keep an eye on it as I go through. And then there are also list methods. So you can actually do things with your list. So as an example, you can append whatever it is that you would like to append to your list. And what you do is, let's say you have your list here and your list contains these items. And let's say you want to append one more item. Then you put your list, you put append, you put brackets, and then you put what it is that you would like to append. And if we have a little look here, so first we started out with our list and it contained only 2 items, but then we wanted to append one more. And when we print our new list, which has been changed now, we can see, okay, it now contains these 3 items. Another really popular list method is also remove. So again, we have our list. It contains these 2 items, and I actually want to remove one. So I take my list, I say dot remove as our method. We have the brackets, and then we say what it is that we want to remove. and then boom, we print that again, and it only contains one item now. So there are a whole bunch of built-in list methods, and we don't have time to really go into them in detail, but let's just go over them briefly one by one. So again, append, we just talked about that. We add an element at the end of the list. We can also use clear, which removes all the elements. We use copy if we want to copy that list as it is. We can count. And sorry for this case, if you have your list and you tell the list to count and then you put what it is that you want to count, it will return a count of that. We can extend. So we will add something again to the end of the current list. I think that's kind of similar to append from what I can see. We also have an index. So for example, we want to find out where in the list is our certain thing, and it will return the index number of that element. We have insert. So for example, we want to add something into a list, but we want to add it at a certain point. We don't want to add it to the end or the beginning. Then we can say insert, and we can insert what it is and also an index number. We can use pop. So again, that helps us remove something at a certain position. Then we can also remove, and we remove an item with that value. We can reverse a list, and we can also sort a list. I'll just give you a moment to look at that for a second. Okay. Okay, if you guys are okay, I'm slowly going to move on. If you would like to go back, just let me know. Okay, there's also something called list concatenation. And if you're familiar with string concatenation, you may already have seen how that works, where you can kind of use the plus sign to put things together. And the way this works, it only works with lists plus another list. And as an example, again, going back to our proteins, we have these two items here, and then we want to add more. So for example, we want to add a couple of side dishes or whatever else we would like to add. And then you can say, okay, we have a new variable here called Christmas dishes. We take our Christmas proteins plus this list of things here. It can also be a variable that is assigned to a list. That's completely fine, as long as it's two lists. And we have a little plus sign in between each of them. And if we print them now, we can see, okay, suddenly our Christmas dishes list is comprised of these 4 items here. Okay, then one more thing. So Python lists are 0 index, so they start from 0. They don't start from 1, okay? And so we can also use negative indices. So what we do when we have a negative index is it kind of counts backwards. And if you use -1, it will give you the very last item in the list. And just to illustrate that a little bit more, so let's say we have our list here, we have our Christmas dishes here, and excuse me, if we go to 0, so that is our that's our beginning of our list. If we go to Christmas dishes and 0, it returns glazed ham, because that is the beginning of the list. That's the first item in the list. If we say -1, it will give us the the last item in that list. So let's say we have our list here, and we go to the very end, and it returns gravy, because that is the last item. And let's say you want to go the second to last item, you can say -2 down here. And if we go to the second to last item, so 1, 2, mashed potatoes, and boom, it does return mashed potatoes towards the end. Okay. Then we also have something called nested lists. And let's say we want to look at Christmas drinks. There are non-alcoholic, and there are alcoholic drinks as well that people enjoy for Christmas. And the way we can access them is we use our variable for our list. And then we want to find out, so remember it's 0 index, right? So we want to find out the second item. So we use index 1. Okay, so we go 0, 1. Okay, this is number 1 in the index. And then let's say we want to find the first item in that nested item. And then we say 0. And what it returns is alcoholic, an alcoholic Christmas drink. Okay. Then now let's get to loops. Okay, so loops basically, when we combine them with a list, they help us do a certain thing per each item in that list. So as an example, we have names for Santa Claus around the world. There are different types of names here. And what we do is for each item in that list, and that item can be a temporary variable, okay? It can be whatever you want. It can be name, it can be I, or it can be X, whatever you like. It can be Santa name. So for name in Santa names, print that name, okay? And then what it does is, okay, one by one, it will print out each item in that list. Okay. And we also have while loops. Okay, so that's a little bit more tricky. Basically, the way it works is while something is true, do this. Okay? So let's have a look. So Codecademy explained it like this. So let's say we have some ingredients, and they are this and this much long, and we start with an index of 0. And let's say while our index is less than the length of that list, we should print something. And we also need to go up in our list. So we increase the index by 1. That sounds a little bit abstract. So let's go back to our example. So we have our names for Christmas, and we have our counter, which is set to 0. And while the counter is shorter than the length of our names, please print that name and use the counter to index to access that item, and also increase the counter by 1 so we can move forward in the list. Okay. And again, what it does, it prints each name if we run this code. And as soon as we have reached that, as soon as we have reached the length of the center names, which is the same as the counter, then it kind of stops looping. I'll just give you a second to have a look at that. It's a little bit more tricky, that one. Okay. And slowly moving on. There's also an option if you want to break your list. So for example, let's say you're doing something and then you have reached your goal and you want to stop. Okay, then you can use a break statement. And to give you an example, so let's say we have a list of gifts and our index is set to 0. And while the index is shorter than the length of the gift lists, you should print, okay, we're checking this gift with using this index. And while we're doing that, we should keep increasing the index by 1. However, if we have a condition that is met, for example, here we find that the gift is knit sweater, then we should return a message, okay? Found the perfect gift. And sorry, what it does is while we haven't found the perfect gift yet, it keeps printing this line. So checking plushie, checking box of chocolates. And then here it finds the gift, okay? Found the perfect gift. It's a knit sweater. Okay, here's the knit sweater. And it breaks. It stops running the code. That's why you don't see the board game here. Okay, I'll just give you a second to look at that. And slowly moving on. Is there anything you'd like me to go back at this point? Was there anything where you thought, oh, that's a bit fast for me, or you would want to take notes for anything? No. Okay. If you do have a question, do pop it in the chat. That's completely fine. Now, there's also something called a list comprehension. And what they do is they're really sort of nice, very clean, very short way of telling your list that it should do something with each item. And the way it works is we have our variable, and here's the action, and to that list item in my list. And again, to give you an example, let's say we have a list of things here. So our gifts are these 3 things. And we want to add a little Christmassy emoji to each item. Now we could say, okay, festive gifts here. We format that with string formatting. F, the gift, Christmas tree, for each gift in the gifts list. Okay, and the way it works is, okay, here we have our plushie with a Christmas emoji. We have our knit sweater with a Christmas emoji. And then here we have board game with a Christmas emoji. And if you look at it, it's a really quick and easy way to write this, right? It's just 1 line, very nice and clean. Now, let's move on to the code editor. And for this, you can use, of course, your regular code editor. For me personally, I really like VS Code, but you can also use your workspaces. And let me just put the link to that one in the chat as well. Okay. Woo! Like so. Just checking, have you ever checked the code editor bit, so the workspaces bit on Codecademy? Have you ever used it yourself? So the way it works is if you click on the link, it will take you through to this screen where you have, and you can pick a certain language, and then lets you use that quite comfortably, quite easily. Now, moving on to our first problem. Okay. So for example, in our first problem, let's try and decorate a Christmas tree. So let's say we have our list of decorations here. We have Christmas star, we have some tinsel, we have some baubles, we have lights, we have a little angel to put on the top. And what I would like you to try and do is to use a for loop to decorate it. You can print a message for each decoration. You can use emojis if you like. And this is your sample starter code. So for decoration in decorations. And at the moment, it doesn't do anything. It just says pass. And if you run that code, nothing happens. Okay. Let me just give you the starter code, and then I'll give you a second to work on it. Like so. Okay. And I've just popped that in the chat. Might be able to see it. And let's say I'll give you 2 minutes, and then we'll revert. Let me just get something to drink. Just a second. Okay. Would anybody like to share their code? Would you like me to go first? I don't mind either way. No? Okay. I'll share my solution first, and maybe you can tell me if you did something similar or if you did something quite different. So let's say we have this code bit here. Let me just maybe share my tab as well. So let's say I'm here in my code spaces. And let's say I have my decorations up here in a list. And we have our starter code up here. So for decoration in decorations, we want to print a message like so. So we want to place, using string formatting, placing this decoration up on the tree. It does that for each item in the list. And then at the end it says, okay, now the tree is done. And if we run this code, let's have a look what happens. Wait, what's going on? Let's try that again. Okay, so what it does is it prints each item here. So it prints the star, the tinsel, the bauble, the lights, and the angel up here. And then once it's done doing that, it has a little message at the end. Okay, now the tree is completely done. Can I just ask, how did you guys solve this? What did you guys do? We have somebody else joining.
Honestly, I mean, basically, I it wasn't long enough for me because I was just, I'm just starting out for decoration and decorations, print decoration, and then at the end, outside, not indented, just put, now I'm finished decorating. So.
Okay, that sounds, pretty similar to, this bit here. Can we have somebody else joining? Hi, James. How are you? Okay, we'll give you a second. All right. Now, moving on to our second problem, maybe. Oh, sorry. Was there anybody else who wanted to join their solution? No. Okay. All right. We'll move on to the second problem. Okay, next slide. So number 2 is, can you try and count the star ornaments? And if you can maybe do that with a message that returns how many stars you found, that would be good to kind of stretch your skills. So let's say we have our list of ornaments here. We have a star, a bauble, a star, an angel, another bauble, and another star. And our target ornament that we want to find is star. And we want to be able to count how many items there are in this list. Let me give you the starter code in the chat. And then I'll give you some time to work on that. Just a sec. And again, you can put that in your code editor, or you can just put it in your Codecademy workspace. There we go. Here we go. And let's give you maybe 2-3 minutes to work on that. Okay. Somebody's saying is well, I took Spanish like 15 years ago, but it sounds like you have a bit of a language barrier. That's okay. I hope you can find it useful nonetheless. I think there is somebody with a Spanish-speaking club. Let me just find this club actually, while everybody else is on the current problem, called Codigo, with a nice gentleman called Ariel, I think. Let me just have a look. Where is that man? There we go. So here's a Spanish-speaking club, if you haven't seen this one yet. And the man hosting that club is also really, really lovely. Oh, I think it just the person just left us maybe. Okay. Okay. Do you guys need more time? Or would you like me to share my code? Would you like to share your code maybe? What are we up to?
I can share mine in the chat.
Sorry, you would like to share?
I said I can share mine in the chat, or if you just want to show us yours.
Yeah. Go ahead. Go for it. Let's have a look. And yeah, we can just run yours. So let's say up here. One sec. So that's interesting. Let's have a look. So if we look at the list, it contains 3 stars, right? But then yours returns 1. Why is that, Ryan? What do you think? I can't hear you, by the way, if you're saying something.
Yeah, so it would just be because, like as you had stated previously, that dot count is that only for the first one? So it's only that's not the right use of it, or?
No. Like your code is correct, but if we have a little look here, what are you counting? You're counting in target ornament, right? So it returns 1 because there's 1 star in target ornament, which is correct. That's fine, right? But what are we trying to find though?
How many of them there are?
In which one?
In ornaments. How many times star is seen in ornaments?
Perfect. So if we do that, if we run your code, it gives us 3. So you were, like, your code is perfectly fine, except for you were counting maybe in another spot.
Right.
But
Okay.
your usage was perfect. So that's all good.
Okay. Perfect.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. And then I think maybe, let me just think, if we can maybe try something else. So let's say our counter, we have a counter, next slide. We say our counter 0, and then let me just try actually if that works. Let's say for item in ornaments, let's say if item equals star, counter plus equal 1. Oops, and then return counter. Let's see if that works as well. Just to give you a different option. Invalid, yeah, okay, because I need to put a return outside function. Yeah, see? Errors for me too. Let's do that. Return outside function. What's wrong with you now? For item in ornaments. No. Huh. What am I doing wrong? One sec. Oh, sorry. Space. I had another space up here. There we go. Oh, there we go. Let's try that again. Return outside function. Why? I will have a look. Why is that outside function? I will look into that. Okay. But yours works. It's not a function. Correct. Let me just hold on. Let me look at my notes. What did I write down? What did I write down?
Is it indentation?
No, because it's correct. It's not a function. I was just trying something, but it didn't work out. What did I write down? Let me see. So my notes for this one was, I was also going to use the count function. Yeah. And what I put down as my own notes was to kind of print it out as in the end. So for example, print print this target ornament appears how many times on the tree. And if we run that as well, one sec. Like so. Right. Okay. Yeah. So that was my note that I made for this one. So this target ornament appears 3 times on the tree. Okay, that works out. Now moving on. Okay. Over here. So number 3, and this one's actually we want to debug. So we want to find out what's wrong in this list comprehension. Let's say we have our list of things here. A board game, a plushie, a knit sweater, and a box of chocolates. And for some reason, we want to add a Christmas tree emoji to each gift up here. And for some reason, it's giving an error. And let me just share the code in the chat as well. And you can try and see what the issue is for yourselves. Okay. Oh, yeah. And Greg just pointed out, just print, not return the counter. Yeah, that was my mistake. Thank you, Greg. Okay, somebody's typing. Yeah, yeah. And Greg found the problem list to that. So if we have our issue up here, let's run that code. So let's say we have this buggy code up here. We try to run it, and it says has a name error here. Name this gifting list is not defined. So first of all, we don't really need an if statement. It doesn't really do anything. We don't need a condition up here. We just want to print one item with an emoji for each. And also gifting list, it hasn't been defined before. That's why it's given an error. So if we remove that, let's try that. Then it's going to print each item with a Christmas emoji. So board game, Christmas emoji, plushie, Christmas emoji, knit sweater, Christmas emoji, box of chocolates, Christmas emoji. That's it. Good. And let's maybe move on to the last problem. So the last one is let's create a countdown. And what we want to do is we want to use a while loop, and we want to fill it so it has a print statement for each day and a final message. And again, let me share the starter code. So that you can work on it yourselves as well. And again, the days until Christmas, you can change that. For example, in this example, you could use 5 days. You could also say 11 days. It's completely up to you. Do you need some more time? Would you like me to share a solution? Would you like to share your solution? Someone's still typing. I'll give you a bit more time. Mm-hmm. 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 Okay, let's try. Okay, we have two options. Let's try both of them. I'm going with the first one here, like so. Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's the first solution. Let's run that one. Invalid syntax. Let's have a look. Days until Christmas. Days until Christmas. Minus equal 1. Hold on. Now it works. Okay, so basically I didn't put an enter, so it was still thinking it was on the same line. There we go. Days until Christmas. Yeah, that works perfectly. And let's check the second solution from Greg. I'll just comment that out. Okay. Well, days until Christmas. More than 0. Print string. Okay, days until Christmas. Go on. Okay. Print, we are there. Okay, let's try that. And that works as well. Let me just quickly check what did I put for my notes. So print ding 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 days until Christmas, left until Christmas. -1. And then print Merry Christmas. 5 days left until Christmas. No, I had a little loop. One sec. I forgot that bit. One sec. So while. There we go. All right. Yeah. Ding 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 days until Christmas. Okay. Yeah. So they all do the same thing, just in very slightly different ways. So that's all good. And yeah, it's time to wrap up at this point. One sec. All good. So I just wanted to check in with you guys. Is there anything you wanted me to go back to? Anything you would like to ask maybe? Is there anything you would like me to revisit at this point? all good. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Moving on. So just to recap, so we have lists. They help us store data in an organized fashion, and then we can use loops to retrieve, and we can also modify. Python lists are zero index, so they start from zero. They can be nested. They can have a variety of methods. And just to kind of give you an overview of what's coming up. So so that's already been done. We had input and output, string operations, lists and loops, and functions coming up on Wednesday. And then at the end of the session, there will be a joint event between myself and William. That'll be on the 21st. And it's going to be on a Saturday, same time as today. And if you want to leave anything, so of course, at the end of the session, there will be a screen where you can leave feedback that will go to Codecademy. I don't actually see that. If you want to leave anything directly to myself or to William, let me give you a little feedback form if you prefer that as well. Let me just put that in the chat. And you can also leave anything you'd like to say now in the chat. That's completely fine as well. There we go. Okay. If there's nothing else, then I would just want to wrap up at this point. You good? Okay. No, thank you for your time. Thank you for joining. All right. In that case, I wish you a lovely weekend and a happy coding, and maybe talk to you soon. All right, you guys, take care. All right. Take care. Bye-bye.